Kellan.
Hi.
We're waiting on Dustin, so tonight you're doing the intro with me.
Me.
I had a question though. I recently you're wearing a hat. What does it say?
It says Pickle Boy demo tapes.
What is that?
It's some weird in-universe character at the Meow Wolf thing in Houston. You know about Meow Wolf?
I don't know what the hell you're saying.
You don't know about Meow Wolf?
No.
Oh, this is already going off topic then. Meow Wolf is like an artist collective, and they started like an interactive what am I trying to say? Installation art experience in Santa Fe using seed money from George R.R. Martin.
Oh.
Yeah, like he was one of the benefactors. It's not like all his money. But anyway, and like,
okay.
I'm actually kind of surprised you haven't heard of them because in the last like 10 years or so, they've proliferated and have, I think, like 5 or 6 locations in the U.S. now.
Oh.
And they opened one in Houston. And I just went to that for a friend's birthday party.
Dustin, go ahead and roll. We're doing the Electric State intro. So, Meow Wolf.
Meow Wolf. And
Meow Wolf.
Each location has like a different story to it. So like the Santa Fe one has like, it's like an old bowling alley that they gutted and built like a farmhouse in. And there's like a store, like you sit down in a room and you open a drawer and there's like a journal in there and you read like lore and story stuff.
Huh.
It's really interesting. It's really cool. I just went to the Houston one and one of the characters was Pickle. It's like a radio station. And so Pickle Boy Records is something. And I just thought it was funny because it says Pickle Boy demo tapes and I'm going to wear it to pickleball.
That's full circle right there. Dustin, you're definitely a hat person.
Yeah.
I am not. I don't wear hats. I don't think I look good in hats. I tried hats when I was a kid because my brothers wore hats. I can't wear hats. I'm not allowed. And
will you wear wigs?
Will you wear wigs?
When will you wear wigs?
When will you wear hats?
Well, today, now, because I now own a little black baseball cap, and I wear it if I oversleep and don't have time to shower, or things like that. You know, so and it's been wonderful.
Nice.
It's been a lifesaver. I already dress like a schlub when I drop off my kids in the morning. But the hat makes it feel like an intentional choice. Like I go from like with no hat is like
intentionally
hobo.
schlub.
Yeah, schlub chic. I like to say the Adam Sandler, if you will. But the hat kind of ties it all together. It's going okay. Although the first day I wore it, my daughter gave me a huge look like, no, no,
yes,
no. And then she said I looked cringe, and so then I did a strange dance, and she said never mind, and I leaned into it, and she stopped. Anyway,
like, you got half my jeans, kid. You're screwed.
Yeah,
right.
I remind her of this all the time. I was like, it will happen to you one day.
You will be cringe.
Dustin, is there a certain kind of? The thing about the hat was that it felt like it didn't have enough like top to bottom room. And I wonder if you get like 10-gallon ball caps or something, or if you just have a better shaped head than I do for hats.
No, so I'm very particular about my hats. So first of all, I hate flat brim hats.
Okay.
For me, like I know that doesn't look good on me. I wish I could wear. I've tried. I can't make it work.
Okay.
Yeah. This one will be flat until I decide I'm done with it.
Yeah. I wish I could do that. I can't do it. I've tried. And then, so I always have a curve, and then I like trucker hats the best, for their form factor, but also like you can get different crown heights. I like a medium height. Like if it's a high or like a tall, crown, then it feels like I'm wearing like a Elmer Fudd hat or something. And then, but if it's a low crown, then it just feels like it's like like tight on me.
Dustin, you got to get you one of them hats from that Happy music video.
Yes,
yes. What is it?
Correct.
Pharrell's hat.
Pharrell Williams.
His weird Canadian Mountie hat.
Yes, that's what I need.
It was.
That's what I need. No, but like, so I'm weird, and like, so I bought this hat, right? Yay! But a lot of the hats you've seen me wear, I actually sort of make them. So I buy patches that I like, and then I buy a hat that matches the patch or like complements it in some way, and then there you go. I just recently bought a patch. Kellan, you would like this one. It hasn't arrived yet.
Is it Samus?
No, but I have that in my eBay cart right now. This is hold on, let me find it. It's this. It's DK. It's DK. But yes, Samus is in my eBay cart right now because there's like tons of people who sell embroidered patches, and so I'll just like find one that I like and then boom, hat.
Dustin,
and
you're basically doing what I did with hoodies in high school. I used to take it into a very specific store in the mall that did heat transfers, but in a way that would stay. And I made like multiple Soundgarden hoodies. I made some Metroid hoodies and stuff. With like down the zip, I cut it in half, and I was like, "I'm the coolest freaking kid in the world." You know?
I've made this. Well, like I think we talked about this recently, Hooper. I feel like I've sort of outgrown the like graphic tee days.
Yeah.
So hats are now my graphic tees.
Right. I just tattoo my skin. That's what I've been doing.
I just make it permanent.
I can swap out on the daily. Or multiple times, like I'll come downstairs and I'll have like a hat on, and my son will be like, "Not that one," and I'm like, "No," and he's like, "No, not that one, not today," and I'm like, "Okay." So then he'll go pick out one for me, and I'm like, "Okay, I guess this is the one for today."
Soon he'll be going, that one's cringe.
Yeah, that was cringe, Dad. Yeah. Why do you have a Donkey Kong hat, Dad?
I'll be right back. 1 second.
This is the Electric State episode.
Yeah.
Such as it is. We recorded. Wow, we're getting pretty far ahead on these recordings.
Yeah, we recorded this a while ago.
I'll pull these up and I'll be like, "Oh, right, we talked about that."
Yeah, I forgot about this movie.
Woo.
If you ask me right now any details of that movie, I don't know that I could supply them.
Which is somewhat of a spoiler for the review itself.
It's a foreshadowing.
I had someone. I was talking to somebody yesterday about, and it's interesting that you're both on because I think you both probably share this opinion. I was talking about Dr. Sleep with somebody, and they were like, "Yeah, I've seen that movie twice because the second time I watched it, I'd forgotten that I even saw it the first time." And I was like, "Oh, so you didn't really like it that much?" And I was like, "See, I love Dr. Sleep." And I did say, I think you're in the majority because nobody else I know likes Dr. Sleep as much as I do. So,
I think I remember starting it, and then I was like, I actually don't remember The Shining enough to watch this movie. So
I never watched Dr. Sleep. I feel like I like The Shining enough. I'm not a huge fan, but I was also like, this just feels superfluous.
What is this universe? What is Dr. Sleep doing to our memories where some people can't remember watching it? You two haven't fully watched it, but I thought you did.
It's Mandela effect, man.
Is this just more of like my early onset Alzheimer's, like thinking you guys would watch film? You guys have watched Severance, right?
What? That's what we're here to talk about?
Oh, God. All right. Please enjoy the Electric State, everybody.
My innies have watched Severance.
Stay tuned in several weeks whenever I release the Severance episode.
Let's go.
Hey, you. Hands up. Turn around. That a Cosmo bot?
Are you telling me that my breakthrough broke out?
This bot knows where to find my brother. I want him back.
Find him!
We have a chance to tear their whole sick system down. Humans and bots fighting against the real enemy.
Oh, I like the way she sings.
Yeah. Incoming! I am not dying to Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch!
I actually like this song.
Directed by the Rousseau brothers, written by Marcus McFeely, and also adapted from a graphic novel by Simon Stalenhag. I guess is how you say his name. Yeah, I didn't know that till I talked to Kellan about it afterwards.
Had he heard of it before?
Yeah. So evidently what this is like Simon is a production artist. So he created a book. It's a book of art, of like, you know, paintings that are all about like these giant robots in weird places. And so like that's generally what it is. It's like, you know, there's like a little robot guy and a girl, and then they're just in different places throughout the United States. And there's other robots, you know, in weird places, and they look a little dilapidated and unloved and whatever. And it's kind of dystopian and kind of sci-fi and kind of just cool and weird. And I guess the Rousseaus or Marcus McFeely, whoever it was, saw that artwork and was like, we need to adapt the artwork into a feature. And so there is a story, but not really. Like it's a story told solely through visuals. And from what I understand, it's just, you know, like you can kind of piece together a little bit, but there's really no details. It's more environmental. Or ambient. And so really and truly the story is invented for the film, but it pulls from imagery. And so that's about as deep as the adaptation gets. But the film stars Chris Pratt, Millie Bobby Brown, Woody Harrelson, Ke Quan, a whole host of others, Alan Tudyk, Holly Hunter, Stanley Tucci. The list goes on. There's a bunch of, you know, MCU mainstays here, like Hank Azaria is in here, Giancarlo Esposito is in here, just tons of people, man. And Coleman Domingo has a small role.
Wow.
Brian Cox is in it. It's literally like a who's who of just, you know, people. And the story follows Millie Bobby Brown, who has a younger brother who's a genius, and they are living in the 90s. And in the 90s, there was a robot uprising. So this is like alternate, like retro history. And so it's in the 90s, there's a robot uprising and it halts everything. And the robots initially win until the humans devise a device called the Neurocaster, which they're able to, like soldiers in a safe environment are able to put on a Neurocaster and control a drone body, which goes to war with the machines and allows humanity the advantage of fighting the machines and being able to win. And so the robots who survive are rounded up and kind of taken into this exclusion zone. And that's sort of the setting of it. But Millie Bobby Brown's brother, and her mother and father die. And then one day, Millie Bobby Brown, who's like bouncing from foster home to foster home, is in a foster home, who's like her foster dad is Jason Alexander, and Jason Alexander is like, you know, always just living in this Neurocaster world where he's like on a beach somewhere. Okay. And like, and so he's neglectful and whatnot. And one day a robot gets into the house and is able to make contact with her, claiming essentially to be her brother, who she believes to have passed. And he convinces her to go to help him, though there's like a widespread anti-robot sentiment, to help him, you know, to help her reunite with the brother who may still be out there, and the robot brain / consciousness to be reunited with his body. And so that's the idea of the story. And so in this road picture, they very quickly team up with Chris Pratt, who plays like this, you know, I don't know, shady businessman who, you know, just deals in like old weaponry and old nostalgic items from the 90s, like Furbies and lunchboxes with He-Man on them and whatever. And
licensed toys.
Yeah, pretty much. And like that's the story. So obviously there's, you know, evil corporation who created the Neurocaster who, they're not on the up and up and, whatever. And then I don't know. It's very formulaic and derivative of all the things you've seen before. So in terms of the filmmaking, I'll get to my big point in a minute, but in terms of the filmmaking, the Russos do an adequate job. I mean, there's nothing here that's incredibly stylish. And in fact, it feels a little derivative of Spielberg films. And so it feels a little Spielbergian in like maybe the late 90s, early 2000s, like that Minority Report, artificial intelligence era of Spielberg, but with the John Williams-y score of like the 80s. So there's, these flourishes that you get from scene to scene, kind of stuff that like John Williams would do. That's all throughout this film. So the direction, the tone, the cinematography feels a little derivative. The score feels a little derivative. The story is certainly derivative of like 8 million things. It's Terminator. It's, E.T. It's a lot of things. And the characters are either derivative or just not fleshed out at all. And yeah, man, it's just kind of like movie by numbers. So like my wife recently had one of these paint by numbers things, and like it's a big canvas, and like we all know what paint by numbers is, but like evidently they're marketing this to like adults now, and it's like this big canvas and you've got all the colors, and it's like 25 30 colors, and you have all the little things, and it's like little bitty teeny tiny spots that you color in, and theoretically it creates a really nice image rather than like the ones we used to draw on in like coloring books that were like big thick splotches. It's like this is supposed to look painterly. Regardless, that's what this film feels like. It's like you knew, okay, we need a little bit of the John Williams color here and a little bit of the Steven Spielberg color here, and it just was that over and over, which is a little a shame because like the Russos certainly know how to create a film, and it's kind of weird that they went to this well of just like paying homage to something, even if it's something that they love, that we all love. They're capable of more than this, and so it's weird that this is what they did. To that end, like we also know they're capable of really good visual effects heavy films. Yeah. And unfortunately, the visual effects in this film are lackluster almost all the way through. And it's not necessarily that like, if you look at any still frame, it might look fine, but in motion, it doesn't look as convincing. And there are moments where like characters are clearly just on a green screen and everything around them is fake. And that feels very obvious here. Like the compositing's not great. And so like, I don't know who's to blame for this. But part of it is like, the film is about robots, and some of them are, human size. Some of them are small. Some of them are larger than life scale. Sure. But it's a really good opportunity to use actual real on-set animatronics. And I don't know if they did. I haven't looked up enough about the production to know if they did and then they replaced them, or if they did and some of it is real. I don't know, but it certainly doesn't read that way. And so because it all feels fake and because it all is derivative, there's really nothing here to latch onto or to care about. And even the little bit about like, okay, Millie Bobby Brown plays a character. I'm going to look up her name because I can't remember. Michelle. So Michelle is, like a foster kid who lost her parents, and her brother may be alive still. Like that's okay. Like that's enough to work with to make me root for her in a simplistic plot. Like give me more of her character, sure, but like the goal is there. So why don't I actually care? And I think the answer is because I don't care about her, and everything feels derivative. So there's no like in for me where I'm like, oh, that's a cool spin on this, or that's a unique take or whatever. And so I just didn't really care. And I think that's the main thing about the film is I just don't care. My goofy little letterboxd review is, I can't imagine caring less about a film. It's true. There's a lot going on here. and not a single bit of care do I have for it. And there's a lot of really great actors, right? Like you could tell me, like all you have to do is say Chris Pratt, who I do like Chris Pratt. Like I know a lot of people, like I've seen a lot of reviews of this movie specifically calling him out and saying like, we're tired of him. I still like Chris Pratt. I do think he's better in comedic roles, and has kind of played his course in the action star realm. But like, I do still like Chris Pratt. I think he's fine. But if you said like Chris Pratt, Stanley Tucci, Woody Harrelson, Giancarlo Esposito, I go, oh, cool. Like I'm there. Like I don't care what it is. But yeah, everyone's kind of phoning it in. There's a moment here where like Stanley Tucci has to be emotional. I won't say which emotion, but he has to be emotional. Mm-hmm. And it reads really stilted and really false, which is very rare for Stanley Tucci. Mm-hmm. And I have to chalk it up to either confusion or just plain, I don't care about this. And I think it may be the latter. I mean, it may be a little bit of both. I mean, I could certainly see that maybe parts of this film were cobbled together in post. And so maybe he wasn't sure what this was going to look like. And that lack of confidence fed into an underwhelming performance. It could very well be that his character is just underwritten. But the main gripe I have with this, beyond its direction, beyond the score, beyond the acting, which is lackluster, beyond the visual effects, which are not great, is the fact that this film cost $320 million to make.
Yeah.
That's unheard of. That is obscene.
Yeah.
That's an obscene amount of money.
That's among the most expensive films ever made.
Ever. And here's the question. Like Kellan and I had a conversation about this. How would Netflix ever make that money back?
I know that this is what I keep saying, that this whole business model is so fucked, you know?
I don't understand. Like Netflix, I'm not going to sit here and badmouth Netflix. Like they're doing what they're doing. My thing is, from a business perspective, how do you make that money back? I'm genuinely curious. I'm genuinely asking.
Yeah.
Because I think I looked it up. It's like, let me see if I can find the number here, because I did the math, Kellan and I. At its current most expensive pricing tier, it would take 13 million new customers signing up for Netflix specifically to watch this film in order to break even.
Yeah. And there's not that many people left to
subscribe to Netflix.
Right. who are like, I think I'll finally check out Netflix, you know?
And I guess you could say, well, maybe they make it back because people stay subscribed. I don't know. I just don't know how it works.
Measure that against everything else they're funding and producing. And then you need like 1 billion people.
Correct. And I don't know how many people they actually have. And I'm sure it's a lot of people.
Yeah.
But like, maybe they do break even, but I don't think they do.
No,
like,
man.
Wasn't that the big report, is that they're still losing money?
They're just bleeding money. And
I just don't see how this is viable in the long term. Like, this is one of those things where if you're going to spend $320 million, I understand from them, they're going like, hey, the Russos want to make a movie for us. Great. They can get us this cast. Sure. Fine. We'll fund it. But that's where you go, okay, but I need an additional $10 per account in order, like, if you want to view this.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it'll be viewable for free in a year. But like, if you want to view it in its first year, give us $10 additional.
That's what they've got to start doing, man. They've got to start charging for this, you know? And I know that that's like not what most subscribers would want, or what, you know, most users would want to hear, but like you have to make the money somehow, and it has to be able to be traced back to that thing. There's too many reasons that you need to charge something.
Yep.
You know, put the thing in theaters and then charge $10 to your people who are already paying you. You know, they get some kind of discount, you know.
Yep.
But like that, otherwise, like you're lighting money on fire. It should have stopped at the budget discussion. Like, okay, with this cast, we're looking at $320 million. I'm sorry, excuse me. Absolutely not.
Somebody should have said the only way this is. Yeah, the only way this is doable is if we charge our customers. Yeah. And I'll be honest, I wouldn't have paid $10 for it.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I wouldn't either.
I would have said, I'll just wait for a year.
I know.
Like, that's fine.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Because like there are movies that I genuinely do want to see and I don't pay $10-$20 to see them, to stream them. And the reason is I look at it and go like, I'll give you a recent example, the movie Companion. I want to see the movie, but for the longest time, it was like $20. You rent it on YouTube or Amazon or whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, I could do that. Or for an additional $4, I can own it on Blu-ray.
You're right.
Like, so to me, it doesn't make any sense to rent or buy the digital version or whatever. So like now I think it's $10 and I'm like, okay, well that's better. But even then I'm having a little bit of heartburn because I'm like, again, like I just double it and I can own it and watch it as many times as I want. So like, I don't know. I don't like if you had said, okay, The Electric State, here it is, the Russos, here's the cast, all that. As interested as I am, I wouldn't have said, okay, fine, here's $10.
Yeah,
I would have just said, I'll wait. So yeah, they won't get what they want regardless of how they release it. Yeah. And I think that's sort of the inherent problem with streaming. Because this could have gone to any streaming network and a platform and had the same problem. Right. No one's gonna like who possibly would shell out $320 million for a product they're not going to see a dime on.
Yeah, for a single film that's it's an IP, but it's like this isn't like a Sonic film or an Avengers movie. This is a graphic novel, which I'm fine with people adapting and everything, but it's like, but that's a lot of money. Like movies like this and budgets like this are the reason that like studios used to go, hey, we're not doing this because this is too much of a risk. And that was for theaters where people would actually pay money and there was DVD releases. But Netflix and all their financial wisdom that they're so good at making money, right?
Yeah.
And keeping money, we're like, yeah, this is worth $300 plus million, and we will absolutely not make the money back. Yeah. And this is not like a prestigious art film that will give us any sort of clout within the industry.
Yep.
There are zero upsides to this. Let's do it.
I think the only upside is, and it's why like this crosses into just advertisement for them, is like there's no upside to it except for the fact that they can put Chris Pratt and Millie Bobby Brown on their homepage. And like, no matter what you do, like on all the banner ads on IMDb or YouTube or whatever, it has those faces and the word Netflix next to it. And so you associate those faces with that company. And at that point, they're paying for advertising. And that's a crazy thing because how much can you possibly, how many new clients can you get from that advertisement?
It's bonkers. I don't
understand it.
Like I was about to say, I don't understand it, but I think I do. And I just think it's dumb. Like I sometimes I go like, is it that elusive or do we understand it perfectly? And it's just horrible.
And it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. It's nonsensical and we're just calling it what it is.
Somebody somewhere must have considered this valuable enough to Netflix to create it. I don't know who that person is or what their thought process was, but somebody somewhere did. That I'm not going to argue that. Netflix is doing their business. That's fine. What I'm going to do is say the Russos know better.
Yeah.
This film, Marcus McFeely know better. Like there's too much in this film, in the film that could have been made better. I don't know why it wasn't.
But do they know better, Dustin?
Well, sure.
Because even the New York Post has noticed that they've called the films directed by the Russos post Endgame some of the worst and priciest movies of the past 6 years. I mean, there were, what was it? Cherry and The Gray Man. I don't know if anybody watched that.
No.
And then there's this, and then I know there was at least one other, I think. I don't know, man. I mean, like I love the Russos and like no one has talked them up on this show more than me. Of course, that's not really saying much. We're here all the time, but and no one else is, but like I'm a big cheerleader for the Russos. But I'm also a big believer in, okay, well, it's okay to call a spade when the thing that makes their product good seems to be cohesive. I don't want to say committee filmmaking because that's not what we want, but like story, direction, collaboration. Like their Marvel films are as good as they are partially because of them, but it's also oversight, strength of IP and oversight of a consistent creative vision, like from someone like Kevin Feige. And so it's almost like they're like the best directors to work with Kevin Feige and to be trusted with the most sensitive and like biggest risk IP almost, or not risk, but like biggest stakes IP. But on their own, even with the writers they work with, it's like somehow that doesn't translate. And I wonder if it is just the lack of strength of IP here.
It's possible. You also think like the Russos come from television and the strength of a television director. But the strength of a television director is coming in to somebody that's got the master plan in their mind.
Yep.
Right. And communicating that vision visually on behalf of that person, on behalf of that showrunner. And so the showrunner still is able to maintain creative control, still able to maintain a cohesive vision, and they have to work within that framework. When you take away any oversight framework from their project and you're just left with them to make all the decisions, that's when we get into trouble. And I don't know, like, because their episodes of like Arrested Development or Community are some of the best, and that's fantastic. And their work in Marvel is great. Like Winter Soldier, still my favorite Marvel movie of all time. So they certainly know how to make a movie, but it is best when somebody else is on the hook for the overall creative vision of that thing. And again, take it away and we're left with something like this. Now, all that said, they also are not writers. So there's only so much in terms of story that you can place at their feet. Marcus and McFeely wrote this screenplay and they should know better because they've done before exactly what we're talking about. They've created... Now, yes, based on strength of IP, maybe, but they've created good stories before, again, kind of told within a framework or adapted from a strong material, right? Like they wrote the Narnia movies, that's adapted from strong material. They wrote the Marvel movies, that's adapted from strong material and overseen by someone with a strong vision. It's the same sort of thing. Again, you take those parameters away, and what we get post Marvel for them is the Gray Man and the Electric State. And again, it's just not a great track record. Now, will the Russos go on to create something really good with Doomsday? Yeah, maybe so.
Probably.
Like I don't have a reason to doubt that. But their work outside of Marvel has been mostly miss. This film is mostly miss. I hate to say it, but like the 90s nostalgia films that I've seen, and maybe this is because like the 80s nostalgia films, like I wasn't really around in the 80s. I don't know really. So I'm viewing it from a different framework, but like the 90s nostalgia movies that I've seen have seemed very surface level and, whatever. This is the same thing. It just feels like, yeah, exactly. It's member berries. It's like, remember He-Man? And, it's like, remember okay, Furby? Whatever. Yeah, right. And like Furby's the go-to. Like, remember Furby? Remember Yo-Yos? Whatever it is. And you're like, okay, like there's more to the 90s than that. Okay, but sure. And even there's a line early in this film that elicited a chuckle from me because it wasn't supposed to, but it was something to the effect of like, President Clinton today signed into law the treaty that would end the robot war. And then Kid Rock threw a party and I was like, what? Like that's the best you got for 90s member berries is like a news report about President Clinton signing a law and then Kid Rock throwing a party about it. Like that's all you got. Like that's the level of care given to the 90s. But like that is the level of care given to the 90s, and the references are that. There's
why not the
like
Dave
a bunch
Matthews Band or
yeah, there's a bunch of like needle drops in the film. And so there's like a moment where Chris Pratt goes like, I don't want to die to Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch or whatever. And I'm like, okay, that's all you got? Like that's the 90s? Like that's all there is. And I don't know. There's also some plot holes here and there that I'm like, whatever. But like all that said, the script could have used another pass or 2 or 7, and the direction, like say what you will about all of it, there certainly was an adherence to Spielbergian tropes that needed to be completely, exorcised from the film. So if you think about like the first time we meet Chris Pratt's character, he's framed like the key man from E.T., and it's like you're following him like that. And, I don't know, it's just like the lighting is very Spielbergian. And, there was a point like in the first act where I just almost gave up because I'm like I've seen this, right? Yeah. Like Super 8, when it came out, was like a big thing. Everyone was like, look, it's Spielberg. If Spielberg was still making Spielberg movies. And I'm like, okay, cool. But the movie wasn't great. Yeah. And then like ever since then, it's just been like try and try and try and try as people might. They cannot replicate Steven Spielberg's magic.
Steven Spielberg is still making movies. He's still alive. And like people, that must bother him. Like, I can't believe that my style is already like a trend that people can't seem to nail. And I'm fucking over here breathing with a beating heart, still making good movies.
Making good movies. Yeah, exactly.
And my style is already a gimmick for other artists.
Exactly so right. Like it's so strange.
It's just a matter of time, Steven. We know it's coming any day. It's like, I just made the Fablemans.
Yeah. When you're dead, we're still going to make Spielberg movies.
I know.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's crazy. It is crazy to me too, that Spielberg hasn't made a movie since the Fablemans. But like there was like a good streak there. Like I haven't seen the Fablemans yet. I do need to watch it.
Yeah, neither have I.
But like West Side Story is genuinely really great, and it feels Spielbergian, and and then there's all these like copycats out there. But yeah, man, I don't know. All that to say, like The Electric State, is it worth your time? Look, if you're already paying for Netflix, no, it's not. If you're not paying for Netflix, it's not. There may be some really good things on Netflix. This isn't one of them. I didn't even like a lot of people. If you look at reviews for this, people are like, I hate Chris Pratt now. And people are also like, Millie Bobby Brown looks like she's 47. And I'm like, she doesn't look 47, guys. She looks 21 because she is 21. And everyone's mad about her in this film because like, she doesn't look like she's in high school. And I'm like,
what is it? Is she too old or too young? Like,
she's pretty close. Yeah. Like, whatever. But whatever. My gripe is not like, aside from the actors not doing great jobs, I'm not even really mad at them. Like, I'm mad at the writing and the direction. And that's what it is. And so, if you want to know, should I see this film? The answer is probably no. Don't bother. You've seen it before and you've seen it done better.
Yeah. The Rotten Tomatoes score is like 15 or something, super low. It's not getting good reviews.
No. And the only reason I watched it was because A, I had Netflix, and B, I was genuinely interested like in the look of the film, this like dystopian whatever. And then it just wasn't that. And man, I don't know. It's weird. it also suffers from a little bit of that like product placement-y kind of thing, which like we always joked about Armand White's review of Toy Story, like, oh, look at these toys, they're name brand toys.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna do similar things right now and be like, Woody Harrelson plays Mr. Peanut.
Yeah.
And like Mr. Peanut is a prominent character in the film. But then like I didn't see this, but evidently there's like a title card that some people got for the film that says presented by Planters.
Oh.
And I was like, oh no. Planters, that's where the $320 million came from.
Netflix is like, what are you looking at us for? We didn't give him that much money. It was it was the peanut guy.
We gave him 50 mil.
We gave him just 50. And Planters is like, we're gonna have to close some factories.
Planters is like, Chris Pratt, you say?
I'm gonna have to start planting my grave with all this money we lost. I think I'm just Mr. Peanut's gonna crack his shell open and just die. Well, it was a good run.
Mr. Peanut found boiled alive.
Time to sell the estate, Mr. Peanut. All right. Well, okay. Well, that's the Electric State.